What's going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 19 video. I want to show you guys a formation that I've been using and kind of a technique that I've been using to get 4 wide receivers on the field, in which normally would be a 3 wide receiver set, which means you can get a wide receiver pretty much at tight end. And for the most part, it works in just this formation that I'm aware of, which is tight flex, found in the Rams playbook is what I run it in. I believe it's in the Buccaneers, the Titans, and there's a couple other teams. The best place to find that out is MaddenFocus.com. It's a really good website that has like every formation, every team's playbook. It's just really easy to use and find things if you're ever looking. So at first, before we show you in game, and we're gonna have to do this through solo challenges so I can show you my MUT team and with all the abilities that I have mixed in, kind of how I utilize it. If you guys ever want me to drop any type of mini schemes, I know a lot of you might be tired or just want to try something different other than Patriots and Saints. I run the Rams playbook offensively, but if you guys ever want me to drop any mini schemes or things like that, let me know down below in the comment section. So this is how I have it set up. You may find it to work differently for you, but I just want to go over my roster of wide receivers and kind of point out what I do. So for this, you want to have your best wide receivers at 1 and 4, and I'll explain why I have Jerry Rice, who's probably my second best receiver, at number 4 on my depth chart, and that's mainly because of this scheme and formation that we use. So we got Megatron at number 1, Jerry Rice at number 4, and I have elite route running ability on Jerry and deep route running ability on Kelvin. Again, I can get into more in depth on why I have that if we do some different mini schemes out of bunch and tight flex. But I do like those options to change the routes. The post routes and the deep crosses are a big reason why, because of just the way coverages play this year. Then I like to have my fastest receiver and also a receiver who has playmaker at wide receiver number 3. Very important that you have playmaker at wide receiver number 3, but speed really helps. And of course, Tyreek Hill's going to do the job. And then the receiver that you're going to have at tight end needs to be your second wide receiver. So if you're thinking in advance of formations, you want a guy, you know, who's going to have speed and height. I could probably put Megatron right here and have him be lined up at tight end all the time. But just, again, the way that my offense works, specifically to me, Julio fits that best. And I also would prefer, me personally, again, prefer to have this spot have playmaker as well. So wide receivers 2 and 3, playmaker, fastest one at 3, and then your best 2 at 1 and 4, and try to have some type of route running abilities on them. So let me show you the field now and how this all works. So we're going to start off by going over the formation and the subs that you want to make. Again, it's in gun, and we're going to go over here to tight flex. You want to hit R1 or right, I guess right bumper or right trigger on Xbox. Sorry, I don't have an Xbox, don't know the controls by the name. And so you're just going to go over to the left. Your inside receiver you want is your wide receiver number 4. So remember, that was Jerry Rice. Your fast receiver that's going to have playmaker, which again is going to be Tyreek Hill. We're going to put him on the outside on the left of screen. And then your best receiver is going to replace Julio Jones, which was my number 2. And that's going to be Kelvin Johnson, our number 1. So we're going to leave it just like that. We're not going to sub in Julio Jones. You're then going to take your right stick and you're going to press it to the left 3 times to where it says down below under the formation subs, you want it to say wide receiver slot. This is going to ensure that we now have 4 wide receivers on the field. It's basically going to move your wide receiver number 2, which again is Julio, into the slot where Zach Ertz normally is on my roster, who is my tight end, and that's going to put the 4 wideouts on the field. So we had to take a penalty there. Again, we are in a MUT solo just so I can show you guys how this all works with ability. And you can run plays out of this formation. I certainly do. And as you can see now, we have Julio on the screen where a tight end normally is. He's lined up. So 4 really good wide receivers on the field. But now you can audible into pretty much any single, you know, formation that has 3 wide receivers by default and a tight end. If you now hot route into these, or not hot route, but audible into these, they're going to give you, you're going to have 4 wide receivers on the field. So a really good one here, and I'm going to have to use a timeout. It's not going to let me. A really good one, though, is gun bunch. So we'll take the penalty and get backed up again, and I'll show you. And you might find some things that are really glitchy in here, where if you can get, you know, a tight end isolated onto a linebacker and take advantage of that speed difference and even possibly the height difference, depending on who you have in there, you can, you know, get really glitchy on it. So we're gonna, again, you have to pick a play out of gun tight flex by default. But if we just simply, you know, switch over to a gun bunch play, now look at Julio's lining up where a tight end normally is. Now this play specifically is really good for that route that Julio makes, because naturally a tight end's there and he's a bit slower. Now you have a faster receiver. Now remember, I was, you know, also going over the abilities you want. Now in bunch, we can put Tyreek Hill on a drag and utilize that playmaker, and that's kind of why I was pointing out that you want a playmaker. Drags with a playmaker right here. Now of course the quarterback or the computer's going to lock me up, but drags with a playmaker are, you know, it's just something that's very tough to cover. And then I'll show you some other plays, and you want to set your audibles to plays that are going to work for you. I'm just going to go by what's on default, but if I go over to, say, you know, Trey Y Flex, everybody loves PA crossers. Now not only do we have those really tough crossing routes, but now we have Julio out there where there's normally a tight end. You normally want to kind of throw like a fade streak here. Now instead of a tight end, we have Julio running that fade streak. It just opens up the offense even more. You know, it's going to stretch out that defense quicker, because instead of a slow tight end, you have a faster wide receiver. I think you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say. But then also, don't be afraid to set your audibles to plays that you like and then switch over to these. And you know, I mentioned the abilities that we have on the field. So now we have, you know, we're flipping it again. Now we have Jerry Rice in the middle, and we have Julio, who we can put on a drag over here. And again, he has that playmaker. Your 2 and 3 receivers are gonna have playmaker, and I activated it on the wrong guy there. But your 2 and 3 wide receivers are gonna have playmaker, so you can mix that in a bunch of drags. And then another thing that I like to do if we go back over to bunch is I can switch to, say, Verts under again. Now I have Jerry Rice at the top of this bunch. I can put him on a post route. We can put Tyreek on a drag over here, and maybe Kelvin. You know, I prefer Kelvin to be on a hitch, but we're just gonna leave him there. Now we have kind of like a post over the middle. We still have our drag, and you know, it just opens up a lot. Trust me, I'm still learning different route combinations that I could run, but the fact that I can get pretty much 4 wide receivers on the field on a lot of formations in this playbook just really helps. So we'll just go over to like this flood play here. Now we have Julio lining up on the line of scrimmage. He's not going to be ideal for blocking, but we can put him on a streak here, and he's going to get up the field just a lot quicker. And that was a really bad read, and I was forcing the football. But he's just going to get up the field, especially in space. We're on the 11-yard line right now. It's not going to work as good, but he's going to get up the field much faster, you know, than a tight end. And you can even get crazy and put, you know, Tyreek Hill at tight end. So here we go, Julio Jones again. You know, Hill goes to the outside, so we have that option of a drag. We got Kelvin out there who we can put on, you know, like a skinny post because of that elite route running. There's, you know, just toy around with it. But if you have any good suggestions or plays that you find in the Rams playbook, feel free to hit me up in the comments section. I hope this helped you guys out. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.